This is another video of mine in my journey through ankle fusion. I'm going to talk about a few things that you will go through after surgery, and a few things that I went through that maybe you shouldn't try, but I'm just going to tell you the experiences I had. During the first couple of weeks after surgery, when you have the bandage on, they really don't want you to get the bandage wet. They do give you something, a bag or a plastic bag to put over the bandage so that you could get into a shower, or you get into a shower and hang the one leg out. I decided just in the first couple of weeks to use my knee cart to get to the bathroom and just to kind of take a sponge bath the first couple of weeks. Now, after the bandage was off and I had my cast put on, my non-weight bearing cast, that was on, probably had a couple of different casts that were non-weight bearing for 6 to 8 weeks after surgery. And I could get in the shower with that if I had it covered up. And they do, you can go buy covers, slip covers at the drugstore. You can come up with your own type of slip cover, but the cast does not need to get wet, and it does not need to be wet in between the skin and the cast. So sometimes taking a shower after surgery is a chore, but you have to figure out a way to do it, figure out a way to clean yourself. One thing that I probably shouldn't have done was, after 4 weeks, I was tired of sitting around. My wife had been mowing the yard. We have 4 acres to take care of. We use a riding lawnmower, weed eater, push mower. She was using the riding mower, and I wanted to get back out on that riding mower. Even though I was non-weight bearing, I figured out a way to get to the mower with my knee cart and a crutch or a walking stick to help me get up on the mower. I covered up my cast with a long tube sock that we actually bought that kind of material, and you can get it in several different lengths, and we cut it, and I would put it over my cast and up that leg so that I wouldn't get any dust or dirt on the cast or between the cast and my skin. Honestly, I think my ankle probably healed better because of the vibration of the mower. I never had any accidents getting on and off the mower. Probably shouldn't have been doing that, but that's one of the things I did. I also went around to every tree in our woods and took a hoe and would get to every tree with my knee cart, and I would take a hoe and weed around that tree. Normally, in a normal summer, being able to walk around, I would take a weed eater and weed around all those trees or spray. So that was another thing that I did that probably shouldn't have done, but it gave me some exercise, and I really wanted to get some things done. Something else that I did, there were a couple of guys that fixed a couple of sinks for us, and they happened to leak a little bit, so I had to go up a flight of stairs and used a crutch to do that, or a walking stick, and was able to get up in the upstairs bathroom and lay down on the floor and work on that tightening up of that plumbing, and the same thing down in the downstairs bathroom. I did that too. It made me feel good to be able to do something, because I'd sat around for so long and searched the web or the internet for just all sorts of things. But anyway, another thing I did that during that recovery time of the first few months, I had surgery in June. Like I said, for a couple months it was non-weight bearing cast. Then a third month it was a walking cast, but that walking cast was only a partial weight bearing cast. And I used it. I used a tube sock to cover it for when I was outside. I used a walking stick or a crutch during that month of getting around with the partial weight bearing cast. It had a flat bottom, and then I had a Velcro type shoe that they gave me or sold me and charged my insurance. And so I did that for a month. After I went back and got that walking cast off, they put me in a walking boot, and I used that walking boot with a tube type sock over it to keep it from getting dirty. I probably could have gone ahead and got it dirty, but I didn't want to. I was able to mow, not doing a push mower, but I was able to get on the riding mower, and I was also able to clean and stain our log cabin. It was due to be cleaned, and it was the year that it should be stained. So I was able to get up and down on a ladder and stain it and clean it with that walking cast on. I did cover it up to try to keep it from getting stain on it and dirt on it. But so I did exercise a little bit during the recovery time. Those were just a few things that I wanted to go over, some of which the doctors probably would not recommend that you do. Now, after my last appointment, the recovery time, they told me that it would take at least a year for it to heal fully, the fusion. The fusion had several screws in it and a couple of plates. I believe they call them cannulated screws, something like that. He released me in October, a few months after the surgery. The surgery was in June, and told me I could do what I really felt like doing, and that's basically what you'll do. I had a heavy ladder that I felt was too heavy for me to carry around. So I would have my wife help me, my son or neighbor or friends would come over and help me carry this ladder to where I needed it. You will know what you can and can't do with that ankle during that first year. Things that you would go over and start to lift on, and you can tell that ankle, you're just thinking that ankle's not ready for that kind of weight. So you do have to kind of watch what you do that first year. Going up and down inclines with a fused ankle is pretty tough the first year. I definitely could not have got on my roof and got the sticks off and stuff like that because that roof is slanted. So the first year, walking places that like yards and stuff like that had inclines in it were pretty tough. But as the years have gone by, this ankle has improved. Me being able to get around on it has improved so much over the years. During the first couple of years, I could almost see and feel the improvement daily. And it finally did get to where in that first year I could lift about anything I wanted to, carry around about anything I wanted to. I wasn't able to jog. I was able to walk for exercise. I really didn't do a lot of walking for exercise until after 2 years after surgery. It finally felt comfortable enough that I could do some of my walk at home DVDs, and I'll put in a plug for Leslie Sansone and her walk at home DVDs. Those have been excellent for me. I've been able to do those. I cannot jog. I have watched a YouTube video of a guy with an ankle fusion that goes jogging. His doctor does not recommend it, but that's what he does. So over the years, pretty well the only things that I couldn't do real well were very steep inclines. This is 6 years post-op. I forget when it was that I was able to get up on the roof and walk around on the roof of my house to work on it or clean off sticks and leaves and stuff like that. the roof of my shed. I've been able to get up on it. The first year or so it was tough because my ankle just was not used to not moving and trying, not moving totally. By the way, there are several different joints in your foot. And actually, I can move and kind of twist my foot around to where it looks like that my ankle is moving. I just cannot do a couple of things, like if I'm sitting in a chair and really stretching my legs out with my right ankle that moves. I don't have a fusion in it. I can lay it, I can put that foot down flat. With my left foot, I cannot put it down flat if I extend my leg out straight or kind of at an angle. So there are a few limitations, but very few. I found out that going up and down steps was different with fused ankle. When I would go up steps, I felt like I was going to fall back. I guess because that ankle wasn't swiveling like it normally did before I had an ankle fusion. So I learned that if I leaned forward a little bit going up the steps, it felt more natural to me and was easier for me to do. Every fall we have an annual fall festival here in our town, and the courthouse lawn is huge. It's a whole city block, all four sides, and we have a carnival on that lawn, and it's almost like an amphitheater. It has it's tiered, and I found out that first fall after my surgery, the season of fall, not me falling down, but the season of fall where we went to this festival, I had a hard time walking up and down the slopes there too. But now, 6 years later, I have no trouble at all. Now, if it's a really steep slope, I might have to turn my foot a little bit to help myself get up and down. Now, I had my fusion when I was 60 years old. I'm 66 now. Your fusion, if you're a real young person, your healing time and adapting time is probably going to be a lot shorter than what mine is. One reason I went ahead with a fusion was I'm able to do anything I want to, lift anything I want to. That foot and ankle is like an iron foot and ankle. They're just occasionally I might step in a hole and I think, oh no, what did I just do to that? It might hurt for 30 minutes or an hour. Then later in the day, I'm working around the house or out in the yard, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, there's no pain at all with it. Now I did break a bone in the Jones area of my left foot, and that's the foot that I had the ankle surgery on, the fusion. I did do that, and that is kind of a side effect of having an ankle fusion. If you step in a hole, you might break that fifth, the little toes bone down halfway on the foot there in the Jones area. It's possible that you might break that because your foot's not bending like it used to, and mine did. Mine is healed now, so it's kind of like that iron foot again. If I would have gone with an ankle replacement, I was told at that time that 8 to 10 years later I might have to have another surgery to put in new hardware. With an ankle fusion, I should not have to have any surgery to put in new hardware unless I had a traumatic injury there. So ankle fusion can last a lifetime. Ankle replacements cannot. However, I do have a friend that just went through deciding whether to have an ankle fusion or ankle replacement this year. And in the end of last year, the end of 2019, he chose to have an ankle replacement. And he told me that the hardware they were using at this time was considerably better than what it was when I was making my choice back in 2013. So he went with an ankle replacement. He's a few years older than I am, and so he's I think he's in his early 70s, maybe he's in his late 60s. If he watches this video, he's probably going to get on to me for talking about that. But anyway, he decided an ankle replacement was going to be probably all he needed, and so that's what he did. And he's able to flex that ankle around, and he's up and walking around now. He had surgery, I think, in November, so the recovery time on ankle replacement is a lot shorter. However, I'm not sure how much weight he's going to be able to lift with that, and he may not want to. He may not need to. But anyway, those are just some of the things, and I'll be going over some more things as I think of them in upcoming videos. Put something in and put questions in the comments if you want me to talk about something else or answer any questions you might have on the decisions that you're making either for ankle replacement or ankle fusion. Thanks for watching.